Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the Motivator Show, alongside, normally, Lady Chelsea. But she's not here this morning. She's at the jab. She's not feeling that well. So I said to her, it's fine. I will do a solo session. It's been a while. But occasionally, it's not a bad thing. So I say to Lady Chelsea, hope you're listening. Get well. I know you'll be fine by next week. So it's fine. So this is the Motivator Show, usually alongside Lady Chelsea. I welcome you all to this wonderful platform. This is, of course, Galaxy Radio. Those who are familiar with the station will recognize that name. GalaxyFW.com. That is the website. You can, of course, listen to the show either via the website or through Zeno FM. Good platform. Of course, this show is also being transmitted via Facebook and YouTube under the Motivator Show logo. That DE space Motivator Show logo. You can find us there. And if you're on YouTube, please press a like, press a subscribe, and you'll be informed of future shows. We do nothing else but tell you about future shows. If you're on Facebook, press a like, and we'll ensure you're kept informed of future shows. So welcome to you all. This will be an exciting show. Let me assure you of that. But let me first of all begin by first of all congratulating the previous pilot, Ian King. I say to him, who's brought us from night to day, thank you for your dedication to the cause. And of course, never would I let a show go by without expressing appreciation to the stalwart, determined Galaxy management, who's ensured this station has lasted more than 30 years. In some cases, a lifetime. I give praise and recognition to Chief Akambabai, to Elder Erikute, to Dr. Man Abu Ratata, and of course, the inspiring and of course learned, very determined solutions maker, Empress Shanice. And never forgetting, of course, that stalwart pilot who's been here all this time, Nickel, the most royal. And never forgetting, I remind people what Chinchua Ashembi, a previous guest on the show, said on many occasions. It's not Africa's natural resources, it's the source of its wealth. It's the technology that derives from those natural resources. So I want to give praise to the engineers, the technologists that allowed this station to transfer from different platforms and continue to transmit a de-brainwashing information portal to you all. I give praise to the management, I give praise to the technologists, I give praise, of course, to the engineers. I say thank you. That allowed us to be here today. It's a coalition, collaboration. That's why I'm in the crowd at the moment. I'm a part of that crowd. We are part of that community. I say to you all, praise Jah, Rastafari. So let's move forward. And at this point, I'd always say to you all, I want to recognize Elder Norma. Yeah? She's been listening to the show right from the very beginning. I point out that she was alive and remember this country in the 1940s. This country in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 20s, up to today. And she has a very clear memory of British society. And is able, not because she's clever, but because she has the knowledge. She has the experience. And we need to harness such people in the community. Give them the reverence that they deserve, because the wisdom of their experience is worth far more than those with numerous degrees in PhDs and doctorates and others, yeah? Those with lifetime experience have the sort of experience that we need to grow as a community. So I say unto Elder Norma, thank you for listening. Thank you for your listening ear, as the chief Cumberby would always say. Thank you for your listening ear, my elder. I know you will contribute later on. I now at this point want to recognize and recall some past contributors, okay? Contributors who've made a difference. But before I do that, there's another message which must remain consistent, okay? In our community, the African community or black community, depending what descriptor you wish to apply to yourself, there are disease instances which are unnecessary, which are directly the result of lifestyle. Okay. Some of you will recall a show which featured the three chefs. And do you remember that inspired sister? Huh? That inspired sister, Teresa. Okay. Do you remember what she said? Many of us have diets that are designed to give us lots of energy because we used to do a lot of physical work. Therefore, we needed that energy. Extra salt, extra sugar, all the calories we could pile on because we worked it off. That is no longer the case. And what she reminded us, of course, is that we've got to adapt our mentality and therefore our eating habits in order to we can enjoy long, fruitful lives. I give praise to Sister Teresa. Okay. So the key messages are, of course, the usual health messages I must communicate to you. I want you to consider the amount of sugars you add to your diet. Your teas and your coffees, those sweet drinks, those cakes, yeah, chocolate things, stam blang, full of sugars. I don't say you shouldn't have it. I want you to consider the amount you're ingesting each day and consider the long-term impact it might have on your health. Because diabetes is big in our community. There's a recent lecture by Professor Hilary Beckles on the subject, which noted, particularly in the Caribbean and indeed amongst Africans, particularly those of us in the West, too many of us are addicted to sugary foods. And as a result, there's abnormally high levels of diabetes in our communities. In the Caribbean, Europe, Americas, that is most certainly true with these rich diets that we are exposed to. So I want you to consider the amount of sugar you're ingesting. I want you to consider the amount of salt you are ingesting. Long-term implications of additional salt spread over not 1 year or 10 years, but over 20 or 30 years. It's, of course, hardening of your arteries. Which consequently leads to what? Hypertension, or in common parlance, high blood pressures. And all the consequential effects that has on your physiology, your body, and indeed your mind. I want you to consider the amount of salt you're adding to your food. Is it necessary? I know some of you add sugar and salt for flavor, but that's learned behavior. 100, 200 years ago, you most certainly would not have been adding these additional ingredients to that extent. I ask you all to consider the amount of fat and carbohydrates you're ingesting. Fat, of course, which is very prevalent in meat products, yeah, or indeed dairy products, as I was reminded by a young nutritionist this week. You know, I don't mention dairy products very often. I should mention, and this young man pointed out, a bar or lump of cheese is actually animal fat, cow fat, hardened. He said, well, look, think of what it's doing to your body. hardened inside your body. My gosh. Yes, that's it. Hit it up. I was momentarily lost for words. It was absolutely right. It is just fat. Animal fat. It's not just found in the meat products, but dairies are derivatives. He said I should mention dairy products alongside those meats where we have these excessive amount of fat. So now I've done it. There you are. But you also consider the amount of water we're taking into our bodies each day. I'm told by the experts 2 or 3 litres, again, depending upon your size and body mass, what is appropriate. Gain that knowledge from your doctor or nutritionist. He or she will know what is best for you based upon your physiology. Okay. Of course, positively encourage you to eat more fruits and vegetables. This is a critical component in ensuring that your body can grow and boost your immune response to all the maladies that currently pervade us in the current environment. I ask you all to consider these things, not because I gain financial interest from you, hubris. I say to you because we are a community. You see behind my background, we are a community. And if we don't communicate these messages to ourselves, who will? Who will? Who will? I ask you. I hope that's sensible advice that I'm providing to you. And if in doubt, go to your doctor, go to your nutritionist. He or she will either validate what I've just said or correct it based upon what you need, what's particular to you, peculiar to you. And last but not least, of course, it is critical that you exercise, even as you get older. Older, if you're beyond 40, it's critical that you exercise. Either run, moderate running. If you can do more vigorous, that's fair enough. Run. Lifting weights. Go into a gym and go on all the various equipment. It is critical that you exercise your body, race your heart. Yeah? Because your heart is meant to be exercised. That is what it's there for. And our failure to exercise reduces our ability to live long, healthy lives and makes you susceptible, vulnerable to the maladies that I've described earlier. Exercise is mission critical. Get some weights. I can't find my weights here. Get some weights, men or women. Just pump yourself with those weights. But do something. Doing nothing, I can assure you, is not an option. Exercise is as good as eating well. If you eat well and don't exercise, well, believe it or not, that's only a fraction of the story. Both go hand in hand. And I shouldn't, of course, forget mental and, more importantly, spiritual health. It is critical that you give yourselves times in which you're able to be quiet and settle. Unbothered by the world, you allow them to go over your head. You close down and allow yourself to settle. So you slow down your heart rate, you slow down all your anxieties, and you allow yourself those moments of peace and quiet. Spiritual contentment. Vital to promoting strong, healthy minds and body. Meditation. Uplifting yourself spiritually, raising your energy levels, allows you to remain the vigorous persons, men, women, boys and girls that you should be, and you have a right to be. But you have to work at it. It doesn't simply just happen. Yeah? All things comes to those who want it. who want it enough. And if you want good health, if you want good prosperity for yourself, okay, you've got to work for it, often in collaboration with others. That's why the crowds are here today, because we are not alone. You are not alone. If you feel you are alone, join an organisation. There's an organisation we'll mention shortly that I would welcome you to join, because there you'll be amongst good people, people of the community, whose sole interest is your interest. We'll talk about them shortly. But let me very quickly give recognition to past contributors to the show, and I hope those health messages have been helpful to you. And I'm not giving you instructions. I say I want you to consider. And if in doubt, seek professional advice. Don't watch YouTube, don't watch Facebook, don't watch any random person. Seek professional advice. But anyway, let's go back to recognizing past contributors. Okay, and I think in the more recent weeks we've had some really exciting contributors to the show. Contributors who I believe have done us proud and have ensured that the reasons why the shows exist are justified. Okay, so let's give a quick shout out to that wonderful sister and brother. Okay, I want to give a shout out to that wonderful sister. Wonder if you can guess who I'm going to refer to. Can anyone remember the book? Can anyone remember the book that we recently gave a promotion to? Yeah, that lady who leads the Brighter Tuition website. Okay, let me reveal it in that case then. I want you to remember Sister Joan, the teacher who wrote a book, How to Pass the 11 Plus and Other Examinations. I attended the book launch. It was fantastic, well supported by the community. A teacher producing materials for the community and indeed wider communities. They came from our community. Yeah, she did us proud. And I want to give praise and recognition to teachers throughout the country. I want to give recognition to you all for your stalwart work in supporting our children's education. I also want to give recognition, of course, to Brother Nia. Can you remember him? Of the National Association of Black Supplementary Schools, or as he'd like to say, NBAS. Okay. An organisation, an important strategic organisation of the community. Okay. If your child goes to a SATI school that is not on the National Association of Black Supplementary Schools website, I urge you, go to that website and tell them this school is not on there and upload details about that school. And if your school is on that website, please check to ensure that the details quoted remain correct. And I recall Brother Nia saying that often information is in the community but not being shared. Let's share this vitally important information with the rest of the community. I want to give praise to Brother Nia. I want to give praise to Sister Joan. I want to give praise for their commitment to the community. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I also, of course, want to give recognition to another contributor to the show. And I want to just remember that young man, Chevy Green. Now, you may remember the show which focused on cricket. Yeah? I recall the future is bright for cricket amongst our community in this country. Okay? I want to encourage parents, young boys and young girls, to consider cricket alongside football as one of their sporting activities. I'm assured that you will find that sport a rewarding sport to participate in. Okay? So I would positively encourage you to make contact with the African and Caribbean Engagement Program, which is currently being hosted by the ECB. I wish to encourage you to make contact with them. Or indeed the African and Caribbean Cricket Association. I repeat, the African and Caribbean Cricket Association. I hope that works for you. Okay? I think you'll find that to engage your child in a sporting activity will allow that child to focus. Okay? And a child who's in good physical health is more than likely to be able to contribute positively to their academic health. Let me assure you, as a child myself, I had numerous sporting activities, but they complemented my academic activities. There wasn't one or other, they complemented each other. And my general good physical health generally helped my academic development as well. So I say to you all, positively encourage your children to get involved. Don't shy away. This is for them mission critical. You have to, as parents, take an interest in the leisure activities that our children, your children, engage in. It is mission critical for them. Okay? So let's see. How are we going to proceed with this? Okay? And I hope that you, as you develop those networks within the community to support children, that you will feel able, if in doubt, to seek advice. I've given you a few of the directions. Either contact the African Caribbean Engagement Programme hosted by the ECB, English Cricket Board, or the African Caribbean Cricket Association. And I say to you, just use your search engine and you'll easily find the details. Okay? If in doubt, simply ask questions. Okay? And I just want to give my last recognition, and I think it's really important that I want to give recognition to them. And that is, of course, to the Pentecostal Credit Union, Britain's largest financial institution. I want to give a further shout out to them. Why? Because they have lasted the test of time. They have been around for what? 40 years. Okay. Now, an organisation that can last that long, okay, and deliver on those core agenda items, which is to harness our financial acuity and focus it on supporting people who would get the businesses, the secure mortgages, or need money for their household needs. That's the way we build community. Okay? That's the way to build community. That's the way to build community. And be assured, I say to you all, that unless we work together, there is no community. A community of one or a community of individuals is not a genuine community of any merit. Okay? Let me assure you of that. Okay? So, I invite you, if you have children, to make contact with the Cricket Association. I invite you, particularly if you have children, to make contact with the Pentecostal Credit Union, because these are organisations that we are in control, that come out of our collective genius, okay? And they are the sum totals of the desires, the aspirations of our community. I positively encourage you to join with the credit union. I positively encourage you to, if you have children or indeed yourself, to get involved with cricket, you know? Because at least in these cricket clubs, we're in control of those local cricket clubs, you know? And you therefore have oversight of your child's development. Because you'll be amongst adults who share your ambitions for your sons and daughters. Okay? Be assured, that's the way forward. Anyway, I think I've said enough on that one. I just want to make a further quick mention, and I think this last group who I believe contributed well to the community, and I believe are a group we should recognise, because in November we'll remember past military veterans, indeed our fallen heroines, heroes. I want to give a shout out to Sister Selina Carty, founder of the Black Poppy Rose campaign. Okay, I want to give a shout out to her. You know my admiration for her. Okay, she recognised that one, here in Britain, up until recently, our fallen heroes were not being recognised. And I've said on previous occasion, I want to give praise, of course, to the Imperial War Graves Commission for also recognising that is so, and has used the term, the reason why this happened for more than 60 to 70 years is a result of pervasive racism. Let me say it again, it's not my words, it's their words by the leader of that organisation, and I give recognition to her for her courage. She used the term pervasive racism. And that resulted in those of African heritage, those of Asian, Indian, in other words, Indian, Bangladeshi, and Pakistani heritage. Indeed, from the Far East, from Thailand and other places. Their contribution to turning the war around against the Nazis, against the racists, against Hitler types. Their contribution wasn't recognised and should be recognised. Even the Prime Minister of a party which I don't support myself, but even he admitted that was not right. So I say to Selina Carty, the founder of the Black Poppy Rose campaign, much love to you. And I wish to encourage those who are listening. The Black Poppy Rose campaign is important. There are many fallen heroes, many elderly ex-service women and men who are living in poverty and deserve our financial support. Okay? They deserve our love and affection. They deserve it. Okay? So I say to you, use your search engine, Black Poppy Rose campaign, and give her whatever support she needs so we can continue to support our ex-service women and men. I say to Selina Carty, praise Jah Rastafari. Honour and respect to you. Honour and respect, you know. You're the type akin to Chipa Cumberbatch, founder here of the Galaxy Radio. Yeah? You're of that ilk. I give you my admiration, love and respect to you. Okay. Anyway, enough of that, because I just gush it now, and there you are. You know, to be honoured to be able to interview such people, I'm truly honoured, okay? And I'll just give last minute recognition to SI or Steve Martin. Wasn't last week's show inspirational? I've now recently discovered that Marcus Garvey lived for a short period in my political ward. As you know, I'm a councillor. My political ward. I am so proud that Marcus Garvey lived local. Yeah, I am so proud. I'm going to make sure, and I've said to Steve and others, make sure that there is a recognition of the contributions of black people, African peoples, have made to the borough of Southwark, where I am now. Indeed, London, indeed, Britain. There's appropriate recognition given to their lifetime contribution to not only this society, but to world civilization. Yeah? Marcus Garvey lived here. Oh, can you imagine? And Steve Martin, be assured, we're going to continue the works, the history walks across London, recognising where our people have positively contributed to British society. I look forward to it. We're going to get him back again, and we'll talk about the history walks, and indeed I believe he also runs a number of history tours along the Thames as well. Black peoples, African peoples' involvement in British society isn't just 100 years old, or even 500 years old that I put in my original media. It goes back a millennia, in other words, 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, 4,000 years. I am told that so-called Cheddar Man, that African skeleton found in Devon, is more than 10,000 years old. Yeah. Even the academics had to admit this was a black man. Yeah. But I take no pride in saying, well, that's great, and somehow we're separate from the rest, because remember, there's but one race, a human race. We are but one species, and there are those who wish to split us into class, who want to split us by way of academic versus non-academic, those who want to split us by way of genders, those who want to split us by way of colours, yeah, or height, or girth, or religion. Don't let them, because they're practicing divide and rule. We must not allow that to happen. We must rise above that as a species so we can behave maturely. We must learn to behave more maturely as a species. We are but one species. These slight variations you see in ourselves are survival parts of us. Yeah? Adaptations, that's all it is. But they are superficial adaptations, just enough to survive. Otherwise, our species would not have survived. Can you imagine if we were all just clones of each other? A single disease would have wiped us out. We are but one species. Yeah? And we have a range of capacities. And we must support each other. That's the purpose of doing these shows. That's the essential message I want to communicate to those. Even though I'm very much focused in my own community, the African community, okay? Because there are specific matters that are pertaining to this community that I have a duty, a moral imperative to address. Okay? And what will follow shortly in this show will be a focus on an organisation which I've mentioned and have been here on a number of occasions, the Global African Congress. Okay? And we want to hear from members of the Global African Congress, which are essentially a reparations organisation. And when we say reparations, of course, we don't mean money, we're talking about repairing the damage. Can you imagine if Britain had been dominated by a Chinese emperor, okay? And virtually all of your statues, all your monuments, all your manuscript had been destroyed by the Chinese emperor in an effort to dominate, not only dominate you physically, but dominate you psychologically, to wipe away as much of your history as possible. Can you imagine what were the psychological harm, generational harm that would have caused the British people? Then I ask you therefore to consider what happened to my ancestral homeland of Africa. So we know it's a cradle of mankind, the species, okay? We know that's where the languages emanated from, yeah? We know already, because the experts are telling me, not me telling you, this is the source of science, mathematics, literature, astrology. Yeah? It comes out of Africa. We know that. But yet, there is an information disconnect because the continent has been ravaged for centuries by people who've come in and sought to control and dominate. Some of those people here in this country, I might add. So just imagine the psychological harm that's been caused. So the purpose of the Global African Congress is to seek to repair. But of course, the repair begins with self. I earlier on talked about the health side, the lifting of our spiritual health. That is what the Global African Congress seeks to do. But if you had generational trauma, the path to good health is littered with obstacles and obstructions. Okay. And of course, the Global African Congress is encountering those obstacles and obstructions. But we need today to methodically address these matters. And we will do it without polemics, without naming names. We will calmly resolve the matter, because the GAC will survive. The GAC, Global African Congress, will grow. For that is beyond doubt. The momentum is well underway. It cannot be thwarted. Of that I am confident. So I would invite members of the GAC who wish to join, please join now, and we'll begin our discourse, because the discourse we must have. It is so important that as we progress as a community, that we not forget our past. Because as any wise man would have told you, that, or indeed woman, that in order for a community to grow, you must establish deep roots. So what are those deep roots, you might say? For a tree, of course, those roots embed themselves deeply in the soil, are able to enjoy the abundance of nutrients that it can grow. In our case, it is how we use the central philosophical basis, the canons, upon which we frame our view of the world. What do I mean by that? In the case of the Global African Congress, it is the Bridgetown Protocols, written following a United Nations conference on racism, international racism. But the Bridgetown Protocols sets out the principles upon which the Global African Congress, which is an organization of organization, is able to operate. And I don't go much further, because I'm going to invite members of the GAC to join us shortly. In fact, join now. And I've just to make sure that members of the GAC are aware how to access the program. I'm including, for purpose of perusal, within the GAC's relevant sites, the necessary links. And I hope that members of the GAC will join us shortly. Here we go. I'll just put that in the relevant sightings there. Now let's move forward. It is vital for us as a community to build organisations. Okay. But to build organisations, the people must believe in those organisations and what they aspire to do. Okay. I know one of the opposing forces would have us have little confidence in our own organisations. Okay. Or when the organisation becomes established, for the organisation to be dominated by, academics, intellectuals, who become increasingly divorced from the mainstream membership. and thereby develop a completely separate view of the world and the community than the masses would concur with. Okay. So the GAC has now entered that phase. Okay. Now, I know that in some cases, for some people, understanding these dynamics is a challenge. Okay, is a challenge. Okay, I also understand why it's a challenge. Of course, you need to have some confidence that as you move forward, that you are moving together. So mutual respect and trust is mission critical. Okay, how to build that mutual respect and trust, of course, is an integral part of genuine and visionary leadership. I'm reminded of another book launch that I attended by a brother whose career I've followed for some time. The name is Professor Neville Ying. He's what you'd call a transformational leadership coach. Okay? Now, Professor Neville Ying has written a book, well, his most recent book, I should say, and if I may use the term, because he's a brilliant author. The book is called Shaping a Servant Leader. Profound words, shaping a servant leader, you know. And I've just completed the book, and I can report to you it is truly inspirational, and I commend it to the audience. Buy that book. Yeah, you can buy it in digital form or in physical form. Okay, but I think you'll find that book a truly inspirational read. Okay, and I'm confident upon reading that book you will want to have a further dialogue with myself. Okay, but I won't say more than that for the moment, because if I can secure him on one of my programs, on this program, that'll be brilliant. But I don't want to give too much away. But I don't often recommend authors. I don't often recommend books. But in this case, I have no hesitation in recommending Shaping a Servant Leader. Okay, I might be able to talk more about this later on, but I can see that I've got at least one member on the line now. Can I just double check who we've got on the line? 3098. Can I just ask you to say who you are, please?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Motivator. It's Glenroy Watson. I'm the co-chair of the Global African Congress European region.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us, comrade Glenroy. We are privileged to have your presence again. Okay, and it's interesting you describe yourself as being the co-chair of the European region of the Global African Congress. Okay, and I'm interested in that because, of course, I want you, please, Glenroy, really to elaborate what that means in the wider context of the Global African Congress. And again, I'm welcome your presence here today. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Motivator. Yeah, the situation is that I don't know if we cover the history, but I'll just skip ahead slightly. After Durban, we came back, and those Africans in Europe who were in Bridgetown got together in Bridgetown to organize the European regional chapter. Then on the return from Europe, we organized a number of meetings, which culminated in a conference in Europe, led to establishing the GAC European chapter. This would have been around 2002, 2003, just after Bridgetown. And that was going for some time. It has to be accepted that there was problems after Suriname, and the chapter, in essence, or the region, became deactivated, for want of a better word.
I did want to acknowledge that we now have Brother Abel Akil of the Global African Congress. Welcome to you.
Greetings. Good day.
Thank you. Okay, I just want to go back to Brother Gilroy now. Come back to you, Brother Akil. I will come back to you. Okay, yes, Brother Gilroy, please continue.
So after Suriname, where we established our constitution and put it in action, this was the time that we started the formal process of people joining the organization in a formal sense, completing the membership form, starting to pay their dues, because largely in advance of that, we were running on people collecting, making donation, etc., etc. So we were now becoming a formal organization once we had our constitution. As I said, events after Suriname meant that the regional chapter, which was flourishing for members from all parts of Europe, not every country was represented, but certainly Spain, Germany, Holland, UK, of course, Russia, and so on and so forth. I remember going to meetings in Europe, pre-conference meeting. One was held in a hotel which was at the border between what used to be Eastern Europe, East Germany, and West Germany. In fact, we were overlooking what they used to call Checkpoint Charlie, if people remember that historic location. So we were very, very active in Europe. It then became a situation where it became less active. We're still in contact with a number of comrades in Europe, and what we've done is we have tried to reactivate as many of them as we can. We now have people in Spain with a national chapter plus unit, i.e. sub-chapters within Spain, Holland, Belgium, I've forgotten one, I'm sure. Where was it? Belgium, Spain. Yeah. So in essence, those chapters were there and have been reactivated, part of the restart or continuation, as I like to call it, of the GAC in Europe. We recently held an AGM on the 14th of Mosiah. Whilst I am already the secretary of the GAC in the UK, in order to help and push forward the project of having a chapter, a region, a active process in Europe, I have agreed to hold the position of one of the co-chair. My sister co-chair is from Belgium, Sister Moody. And we have assistant secretaries from and trustee from Spain. Brother Abu Akil is the European General Secretary. We have elders from the UK. We are encouraging elders from each country up to 12. We're encouraging trustees, all from separate countries, up to 5. In essence, we are rebuilding GAC Europe, and we are holding a review conference of our documentation Monday, Tuesday, as this time has been vacated internationally. So we have proposed and have agreed in Europe and in the UK hold a review conference of our documentation. I heard you mention the Bridgetown Protocol. I've mentioned the Constitution, and with that, in order for the Constitution to be operated locally, we have local bylaws. So those will be the things that we're reviewing. It's been 20 years next year and 20 years this year of the Durban conference. It's an interesting, I was going to say dichotomy, but I'm not sure that's the correct word. But there's an interesting situation now. September the 11th took place almost immediately after the Durban conference. And we are not celebrating, giving attention to Durban. Durban led to the situation where we now, from a global perspective, agreed internationally enslavement of African people, the crime against humanity, as was colonialism, all that went with it. Colonialism, especially on the continent, meant enslavement of the land. It was a continuation of the process, and we know racism, the byproduct, a continued process of that. Work to be done, work needs to be done. Role of all European nations within the enslavement process and the colonial process needs closer examination and exposure. We have a responsibility as Africans living in Europe to do so.
Thank you. Thank you, Clever. Can I just ask you to pause there? If I may just go to Brother Abu Akil, the GAC Europe General Secretary.
Yes.
And first of all, thank you and welcome again. Can you speak again? You're a bit faint, I think. Can you
yes,
your volume?
Good day. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. It's a bit faint.
It's probably because it's so early in the morning for me, Saturday morning. I'm supposed to be doing housework now.
Oh dear. Can I ask you, first of all, Brother Akil, if someone were thinking about joining the GAC, what are the sort of requirements to join the GAC, Global African Congress?
Right. Well, the first requirement is that you're an African. So self-identifying as an African is the number one requirement. The second requirement is that you complete a membership form, which our membership secretary has, and then once you've completed the form, paid your membership, then you will attend one of our monthly members meetings. And in our monthly members meetings, we have a pledge that we all repeat to make sure that people are clear about our standards and our aims. And the pledge essentially says that you will become a member of the family and that you will continue this mission of reparations. So there's three components. One, that you self-identify as an African. Two, that you complete a membership form. You complete a membership fee. And then three, that you go through the pledge with the family in one of our monthly meetings.
If you don't mind, my President, I'm going to put the pledge up on the screen.
Thank you.
There it is. Okay.
So do you want me to read it?
Oh yes, please. Go ahead.
We regularly repeat it because our membership's constantly growing. So so we pledge allegiance to our Global African Congress. We will respect it. We will defend it with all our strength and courage. We will never betray it. And we will spare no effort to develop the Global African Congress in the interest and for the benefit of all African people. And that's the key. It's about all African people. Pan-Africanism reconnects the African family. And the greatest thing that happened to us through the Mahanga Mizi process is the breakdown of our relationships. And our document trail, the Bridgetown Protocols, our constitution is about rebuilding the African family, recognizing that we're spread out across the world as a consequence of our relationships being broken down. And the pledge is that cement that ties us together that string that ties us together, that solid theme of integrity.
Thank you very much indeed. And of course, I'm going to ask you just to explain why African is spelled with a K. Okay, because a number of young people challenged, and I explained it, but I know they're listening to this one, and they will listen to the recordings on YouTube and Facebook. So explain why the K is in African. What's the significance?
It's about really distinguishing that there is a new time. We're in a new time where we're self-defining, and that part of that self-defining is about the K, which is Ka, energy. So that K there is about the energy, that we're renewing that energy of Africans from the Nile Valley through until now, and we're in renewed energy of Ka.
Thank you. Brilliant, brilliant. So those of you who are considering, only who are not part of an organisation, I can honestly recommend the Global African Congress.
And the other bit, the core to the Global African Congress is that we need organizations. This is one of the core mantras of Pan-Africanism, that we must be organized and people must join organizations. And we are an organization of organizations. So we're not expecting that the Global African Congress does everything. As Africans, if you're interested in painting and decorating, you should be in solidarity with other painters and decorators to develop your skill. If you're into science, you're a physicist, you need to be engaging in organizations of physicists. So you're building up your discipline. If you're an academic in the social sciences field and you're studying economics, then you must be organizing with other economists. If you're a mother who's looking after children, then you need to be organizing with other mothers who are looking after their children. If you're somebody who organizes dances and events, then you must be organized with other Africans who are organizing dances and events. That's how we upgrade our skills.
Absolutely.
And so the Global African Congress is about bringing together that whole family of Africans who are diverse.
Yes.
We have hundreds of different languages. We have hundreds of different skills. We have people living in thousands of different environments. We're not a homogeneous lump. Our genius is about the diversity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. So eloquent. You can imagine, you can understand, audience, why I have no problem here in associating with the Global African Congress. Inspired African men and women. Can I now, if I may, both of you, if I may, to co-chair Glenroy Watson of Global African Congress Europe. Can I now address the elephant in the room? Okay. And I want to do this, I said earlier on, without polemics, okay, without names. I want us to do this methodically to ensure the masses of people who are behind me at the moment understand the true situation. Because they're listening right now. Trust me, they're listening right now. So I'm going to go to, if I may, brother comrade Glenroy. Okay. Can you just first of all give us a quick summary of what is the current position inside the Global African Congress? Because I hear there may be a problem or two. Glenroy. Is he there? Oh, he's gone silent. Can you
I'm here. I think that my first response to you is that I think in any organization there are views and we respect each other. I don't believe that this is a issue of fatality. Therefore, we ought not to be running around with stretchers and first aid kits. We need to get on the task, the work that we are committed to do. There will always be, and have always been, you know, if those of us who have been in the organization, those of us who were in Durban, remember some of the initiative and confusion going on in Durban. I'll give you an example. Because we were coordinated as NGO, for example, just before the governmental event in Durban, so there were three conferences in essence: a youth conference, a NGO conference, and a governmental conference. And there wasn't much pause in between either or any of the three. So we did have some time to coordinate as European NGOs and as African NGOs, because we had to form a separate provision. And in the European NGO, after the ending of the NGO conference, getting ready to start the governmental conference, where obviously NGOs were needing to lobby. Our perspective as Africans, we had a job to do because we knew that the European countries were fighting to prevent even the discussion around enslavement and colonialism, where their hands clearly could be identified. We had an incident in the European NGO forum where someone had put a motion, insulting motion, that we should condemn Fidel Castro, who was invited to close the NGO conference. So Fidel Castro, somebody who had committed resources to the liberation of not only Angola, as a consequence Namibia, and the ending of apartheid in South Africa, being insulted by European NGO. Naturally, we had to mobilize and fight against that. The result of that was the distraction from the other NGOs around the globe, the other African NGOs who were trying to utilize a small gap of time in between that to discuss precisely what we ended up doing in Durban. This was a distraction. Not saying that people didn't have their genuine feeling and anti-Cuban rhetoric or whatever. It was inappropriate at that time, and people raised that. Again, in Durban, we had all kinds of confusion. I beg your pardon. Again, in Barbados, in Bridgetown, had all of those confusion. And I can tell you, comrade, after Bridgetown, when we agreed the next family gathering would be in Zimbabwe, a sign of solidarity, Robert Mugabe and the people of Zimbabwe. Greetings. It's a hell of a fight within GAC on that issue. So I'm unfortunate I don't know, as a Chinese curse says that may you live in interesting times.
Oh, yes.
I was present at these events, and I can tell you, at the time before we had Zoom, we were using and spending up a lot of money doing telephone conferences across the globe. We ended up trying to have a firefight around whether we should go to Zimbabwe, nation that we had agreed that we should go to the conference. You know, the enemy was succeeding.
Yes.
Chopping the legs off many of our people who were becoming frightened.
Yes.
They seemed to be associated with a revolutionary such as Robert Mugabe. So the conference was moved to Suriname. Be under no illusion. There's a childish encounter that's going on that will fail. So
yes.
I'm not prepared to engage in it any further. I don't believe that it's any type of critical effect. I have three officers who would not have been elected and were not elected and did not stand a chance of being elected. And as some people do, instead of entering into disciplined process of election, decided to try and undermine other 19 or so officers who were elected. Let me say, of our events, and I'm talking now not about GAC UK, I'm talking about GAC Europe, I'm talking about GAC UK.
Yes.
One of the outcomes of our effort and our successful AGM is we've established the first ever Council of Elders. Think about a Pan-Africanist organization. Think about an organization within idea of structures and African principles. We have not established a Council of Elders until the 28th Messiah. Those kind of events would not have happened. We had turned around and saw this behavior as some sort of fatal attack and we should go hide and jump in the bunkers. What we have done, we have recognized the behavior of some of our people. It has been there for a long time, and we must learn to address it that ourselves.
But again, can you just ask you to pause there? I know we've been joined by a former member of the interim Council of Elders, but now GAC UK's spiritual officer. Okay.
Greetings,
Greetings
family.
to Sister.
And before I speak on this,
yes.
I just want to say to the community at home and abroad, my gratitude for all of the wonderful support and love and blessings and prayers that have come my way whilst I was very, very sick. And I have to say, at death's door. And I've learned such a lot of lessons from that experience. I will never be the same again. But I want to thank the community. I really felt loved and supported by the community at home and abroad. America, Spain, Brother Aboye in Spain, whilst I was in the hospital, there was a voice message asking to find out about me. So we'll leave it there. I just want the community to know widely how much I appreciate the love and support. Thank you.
There you go. First of all, I introduced you, my sister, as being a former member of the interim Council of Elders, but now GAC UK's inspired spiritual officer. A leader, can I say?
Yeah? And our first spiritual officer.
Our
first spiritual officer. This is growth.
Thank you. I hope to do a very good job. We have a lot of groups in our community. We've got the Osera Set who do Pan-African spiritual work.
Yes.
We've got Alki Bulan, obviously, who do naming ceremonies and other spiritual matters, funerals, etc. There's a lot to draw on in our community. And as a people, I think we're stuck. And we really need to do some critical analysis of our situation in the world now.
Absolutely.
Because we are actually making so much progress and we don't know it. Because we're always moaning and complaining and going over the same things over and over and over again. It's time now for a total review of our position in the world as a people and to look with new eyes at who we are, where we're going and how we're going to get there.
Absolutely. Therein lies. I'm going to be quoting you. I'm going to call you Elder. Either way, Elder.
I'm very happy with that.
I'm an Elder Norma. You see.
I'm 70 years old and I feel 50.
Hey, I can tell you. And trust me, I see you often. And my gosh, that is so true. I've got another Elder Norma.
I'll tell you,
together.
I was in a shop. I was in a shop recently, and I don't know how my age came up. And the young man said, "You're lying." He said, "You're lying." I don't believe you. I give thanks.
Thank you. And thank you for your wise words. You know, the reparation starts with self, and therefore the review conference allows the organisation to review its documentation.
Absolutely.
But we still must address the elephant in the room, okay?
Yeah,
and we need to And we need to provide the audience the legal basis upon which any discourse they've heard outside of this discourse should take place in. Okay, and I'm going to go, if I may, to the GAC Europe General Secretary for this one. Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the General Secretary to explain what is meant by IWC. What does that acronym mean in the context of the Global African Congress? What does that acronym mean?
Yes, the IWC stands for International Working Committee. I think that's a key word, working committee. And the aim of that committee, at the birth of the organization, the Bridgetown Conference agreed that the way we move forward with reparations is to establish an organization. So we had the Durban Declaration and Program of Action, which outlined that there has been a crime committed and there needs to be something done about it. Pan-Africanists had that conference in Bridgetown to carry that forward as Africans and African descendants. So it's not about anybody else doing anything. It's about us doing what's necessary. And in the Pan-African tradition, we said we need an organization of organizations to bring everybody together. And so that bringing everyone together, it was about establishing a starting committee, a pilot committee, to make sure that we put a constitution together, we put some operational things in place for the organization to actually grow. So the operational things are the constitution and the Bridgetown Protocols. The Bridgetown Protocols gives the history and the context. The constitution is the operational document that says how you're going to get things done. And so the IWC, one of the key things around our organization is that we're a democratic organization. Indeed. We're an organization that's led by our peers. We don't have some divine energy somewhere, some etherical energy somewhere that someone somehow is a leader. What we have is we have a code of conduct, open rules that everybody can see, documents that everyone can see, and we're all accountable to. And in that document, the IWC's role is to facilitate the organization in between our family gatherings, our international family gatherings, which are supposed to happen biannually. That means 2 yearly. Every 2 years, the whole membership of the Global African Congress is supposed to come together and forward our plan.
Forgive me for interrupting. Is that optional or is it required?
It's required. It's a constitutional requirement.
Okay, if I may then, brother, my brethren, I'm going to bring up on the screen that part of the Constitution. Hopefully get this started. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, so the members of the IWC shall elect from amongst their members the following officers of the GAC, male and female co-chairperson. So remember that word, elect. The members of IWC shall elect from among their members. The members of the Global African Congress are people who are members of the Global African Congress. Not somebody you met on the bus or somebody you saw in university or your mate next door. It's people who have gone through the process of membership. And to be a member, you'd have had to become a member through a chapter. That's the stage we're in. So the following executive office of GAC, male and female co-chairs, a secretary general, a treasurer, an ambassador general, a youth officer, a legal affairs officer, a spiritual affairs officer, and a speaker in the Congress. Those are the offices that need to be elected from the members. All officers shall hold office for a period of 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
And I believe the word "shall" in legal terms is a direct order. There is no compromise.
It's mandatory.
Right? Yes, mandatory, indeed.
Between biannual international congresses and shall be eligible for re-election. That means that the Congress of members is the highest decision-making body.
Again, my brethren, just to be clear, it used the term biannual international congress. Okay.
Yes.
Now, and I noted that word, it's repeated throughout the Constitution. In other words, it's not there isn't a compromise. It must be biannual, and if you don't have it, then the officers lose their legal status. Am I right in that interpretation?
That's correct. The family has to meet. How can you have a family that does not meet saying it's a family? The family's strength, and our thing about reparations is reconnecting our family. The biannual Congress is the reconnecting of our family around the world. If I don't know who my brother is, if I don't know who my sister is, how am I going to connect with them as family and do constructive things? If I don't know that my brother's allergic to eggs and my sister's allergic to milk, how am I going to put a meal together for them? I think the point that you was making about what's happening here, what we've experienced as the Mahanga Mizi is the fragmentation of our families. All of us as Africans have a situation where there are family members we don't know. We have a situation where family has fallen out. We have a situation where family members have fallen on hard times and other family members are doing well. Our mission is to reconnect the family and recognize that the only way to reconnect the family is through having a code of conduct. And this here is that code of conduct. The family must meet every 2 years.
Okay, thank you for that. And I think it's a really important point. Because later on, I'm going to ask you, when was the last time you had a constitutional meeting, biannual meeting, Congress meetings of members, you see, in a moment. But
don't drop the elephant upon me, you know.
No, I don't. Look, before you do that, I want to go on to to section E, in terms of appointment of special advisors. Abu Kill, you could just go on to E.
Can you? The IWC shall be entitled to appoint special advisors to provide the IWC with advice and technical expertise. Special advisors will not be entitled to vote at meetings of the IWC and will not possess decision-making powers. The IWC shall have the power to terminate the appointment of special advisors at any time. So special advisors do not have entitlement to vote. That entitlement to vote comes from your office of being elected by members. It's the members that have the power in the Global African Congress. The members. It's about the family, not some daddy or some mummy or some rich cousin. It's the members.
Right. Thank you, General Secretary. It was important for those who are listening and those who are viewing this on recordings to see it from the founding document of the organisation. This is not negotiable. The document is pretty clear on the matter. It emphasises all officers shall hold office for a period of 2 years. It emphasises that the biannual International Congress of Members is biannual and it must therefore occur. If it fails to occur, then the office holders lose their legitimacy. Okay, so that is the true situation we have this time. I'm now going to go back, if I may, to the GAC EU co-chair, brother comrade Glenroy Watson. So, my comrade, when was the last time the GAC, Global African Congress, held a meeting of members, International Congress of Members?
Thank you, comrade. It will become very clear, if it's not already so, that I don't share the concern that appears to be others around failures of the system. So we are experiencing failures. I've been experiencing that for some time. As somebody who's been in the organization as I said earlier on, from its inception and before its inception, we were thinking about it. I have experienced these type of behavior, and I'm not flustered by it. I'm not surprised by it. These are characteristics that we have to challenge. Last time we had an international conference was in 2010. So the reality is that we lead by example. We have carried out our annual general meeting within the Global African Congress Europe. It means that 2 years from now, in 2023, Mosiah will be holding elections, because everyone who's elected now only hold that position for 2 years. Not enough for us to say, well, we can't hold a European conference. Don't know what the situation will be 2 years from now, whether many of us will be traveling to Europe, whether we can have a physical meeting. That would be my preference. Such a situation still exists where we are restricted, unable, and, we are living in nations have not shown interest or support for our campaign and activity. They have to work in other ways. For me, as co-chair of this organization, will not have a situation where we fail to respect the biannual vision of the organization. Indeed, in the UK, we have not only led by example, we have made sure in the UK to hold biannual conference locally. We elect our officers to agree any change to the bylaws. Is our responsibility also.
Yes.
So we are leading by example. No one is allowed to carry over a term of office beyond the biannual term. As it says in D of the Constitution, all such officers shall hold office for a period of 2 years between biannual international congress, shall be eligible for re-election. Anyone in office can also stand that position. It is absurd not to do so.
Agreed.
It's about accountability.
Hello.
This is.
I'll pause my sister. Elder Nzinga, please go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and thanks for sharing all of that, Brother Glenroy. In terms of where we see ourselves now, for me, we need to move forward, and we need to be very critical of the dysfunction that has been allowed to fester. This has been ongoing for many years. And I'm going to just be frank and honest now. In 2000,
not to quote names, though, my inspired spiritual leader. No names. We're not going to quote names.
No, I should not be naming anything. Okay. I'm just speaking from my own personal observations and input. I was in Barbados in 2002 when the Global African Congress was formed. Brilliant, fantastic event with people. I didn't even know African people lived in some of the places that African people came from to the conference. It was a magnificent event, and it needs to be ongoing and not lost. But one of the things we as a people do not do, we do not critically examine problems. We leave them to grow till they get so big they become a festered sore that explodes. So this is where I think we now have the situation that we have. Critical analysis has not happened as to how we are functioning. Is it good? Is it bad? Does it need review? And this is the time. The ancestors have spoken. We need to be honest in our review. We need to be critical in our review. And we need to end what needs to end. And that's all. I left the Global African Congress in 2009 after organizing the Reparations Symposium, which I have a lovely DVD of, and I intend to show it to members at some point in the future. I left because I was not happy with the operation of the organization. I continued to support events like the RMT conference and the annual elders selection and anything that was done, because I believe in the organization and I believe in our work around reparations. In fact, Marimba Ani tells us that we are here to avenge our ancestors, to reestablish Mahat and to fight for reparations. So, the agenda is very clear. We need to get on with the work, and if we need to part with people, we need to deal with that and get on with it. Thank you very much.
Oh. We always rely upon our elder and inspired spiritual leader, Elder Sister Nzinga, and thank you for those wise words. I note that we've also have another inspired Sister Teresa. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Hi, can you
Good
hear me?
Greetings.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, family.
Greetings. My Sister Teresa,
Greetings, sis.
I want to ask you this question, and I know you understand why I'm asking you this question. What should we do to heal?
Wow. Yes, I'm the person you could ask that question to.
Oh, yeah.
Just give me a couple of minutes and I will give you some words. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they will make sense. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So the future of society, youth, the future opportunity cost, I believe, lies in our hands today and every day until we finish this life. We're at a crossroad. And what we have seen, and history tells us, is that at crossroads, decisions are made. Exactly. If the right decision isn't made, we will regress and we will stagnate. Now, it's only humans that can make these choices. Words on paper are there to be interacted with the human wisdom and intelligence. Mm-hmm. They have to come off of the page and we have to interpret them. We have to have wise people interpret them. Mm-hmm. Wisdom comes with development of the spiritual understanding and the practical understanding of why we're here, who we are. Absolutely. And our ethnicity gives us an above average understanding of that innately. Mm-hmm. We come here tooled up and equipped. Yeah. Now, some people, they do not develop this and they reduce their energy and then they become energy vampires and looking for other people's energy to live off of like parasites. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a horrible thing to have to face, but it's true. We have to come to terms with there are people here who cannot motivate their own engine and they're looking for others to do it. Now, this GAC UK has proven and has been there showing the path of leadership with wisdom. We have come to a crossroad where there are people rising up who do not have the right motivation, do not have the right qualities, and we have to address that. But the work continues because the cost to the youth, if we don't address it, is going to be detrimental to society as a whole, not just to Pan-Africans and Black people, but to the whole of society, everywhere, all over the globe. We are the people, we are the ones born to do this work. Absolutely. And we are equipped to do the work. And I can tell you, brothers and sisters, I will push to make sure that my destiny is fulfilled. And I will support everybody else's destiny being fulfilled. Absolutely. There is no need for us to stop the work. What there is a need to do is for us to use discernment and get rid of the people who do not have the right attitude and the right vision. So, brother, that's my...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Really? You understand why I'm a member of the Global African Congress. These women are so powerful, I tell you. Oh, Debbie. I'm going now, if I may, go to co-chair Abu forgive secretary. Abu
Is it okay if I leave now?
Yes, thank you, my elder. Thank you for
really
gracing us
appreciate
with your
that.
time.
I've got a couple of things to do. And, you know, I think we're on the right path, and I think most of us have got the agenda.
Yes, we have. Thank you.
One
Thank
love.
you.
Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your guidance.
You're very welcome. One love. Bye-bye.
Blessing. If I may go to the General Secretary, EU General Secretary. Can I ask you, please, and Comrade Brother Glenway spoke about the review conference this week. I'm going to put it up on the screen, and can I just ask you, please, just to outline for those who are listening the significance of the review conference, okay, and what we hope to gain from such a conference. Hope it's on the screen. That's the letter. Okay, over to you.
Yes, the significance of the conference is that in the absence of having a gathering of the family, we have realized that it's important that everybody understands what the organization is about and understands where the organization has come from and what we need to be doing in the future. And the way of doing that is not to gazump or take away the authority of our members and the residual activities that have been happening, but to positively identify what is specified in our constitution and make sure that our members are clear about what happens in our constitution. So one of the challenges that we faced is that you have people who somehow feel they have some kind of a divine authority, i.e. not being able to bring the family together in a family gathering. Now, this process isn't about questioning that or battling with the elephant in the room. It's about making sure that everybody knows what our constitution expects. And constitutions are dull, dry, boring documents for me, and I think for most other people. They're not the most exciting things. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, and most people are not constitutional lawyers. However, the rules of our organization, our constitution, is what holds us together. And so what we've agreed to do and what our membership have agreed to do is that we look at our documents and make sure that everybody's aware of what our documents expect from us. So that's the rationale. And so this process is about, let's get familiar with our documents in the same way as this program. And I thank you a great deal, Demotivator, for making sure that we do look at our documents, because most people find it dull and boring and tedious. And I think the point that Sister Teresa had made about we need to make sure that the documents have flesh, and the flesh is actually about us connecting with it. And that's what this review conference is about, making the connection between the documents and the reality, the human beings connected with the documents.
Okay, thank you for that initial response. And just to be clear, so the conference is essentially for GAC members and supporters, or just GAC members, just to be clear?
It's essentially for GAC members, and those who are supporters are also welcome, because it's really important that we extend the family. Our whole process has been about extending our reach and extending our family connections. And so as much as it is difficult, even for me, it's quite difficult bringing people into the room who are really at a very basic level. I think one of the key things is that we reach out.
Okay, so how can those who wish to observe, because what we've exhibited here are organizational discipline. You know, we're honoring our founding documents, our guiding documents, okay? And it's important for those who are saying otherwise to understand what the documents actually say. And we're quoting from our documents, okay? So someone who wants to attend, how can they attend? Who should they talk to, or where can they go to get an invitation, or what's the links? Explain that to them, please.
They should make contact with our secretary. There is a lot of information that's been put out there, so the invitations is going out there to people through our kind of networks. But the primary point of contact is our general secretary.
Okay. How do they contact? I should ask him in a second, I suppose. I'll go back to him in a second. So, General Secretary, in other words, you've got an email address, secretaryGACUK@aol.com. Is that right? And we've also got a telephone number, 07411 113 098. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. And now, if I go back to Comrade Glenroy, did it follow up on the same question to yourself? So you're happy with the email address I've quoted and telephone number, is that correct? For those who wish to give support and observe our proceedings, would that be all right?
That's correct. I'd only add that this conference is for all Africans.
Okay.
Who want to work with us in unity, build the Global African Congress, to find out more about it. As I've said, the global situation in regards to where we were after Durban and after Barbados, even after Suriname, when we were suffering many of our disruption, it's not the same as now. So we have a responsibility to invite everyone who's ever heard of the Global African Congress who wants to be part of it. What I've done, Chair, even though they would have had their own copies, is I've sent out all the documentation to all the officers of the Global African Congress UK and all the officers of the Global African Congress region Europe, so they also can forward these documents to any interested individuals, and obviously the log on for Monday. What we have said is that we want people to pay particular attention to some aspect of the documentation. I think I will say, and I found that it's necessary to say, continue to say, the Bridgetown Protocol is a live document. Some of the discussion are obviously constrained by historical position of nearly 20 years ago. You could highlight the fact that the pages of the Bridgetown Protocol that we want people to familiarize themselves with before logging on, if they can, and those who have the time to read the whole document, which is the Bridgetown Protocol is 79 pages, but the recommendation and the opening statement and the vision and our mission statement are all to be found page 14 onward. I think that that's an important aspect people should actually read. And I selected one of the working groups that should also be familiarized, because they are an important aspect of it. And then we come on to our Constitution. Obviously, interpretation or misinterpretation is currently issues that we are going through. So we want people to familiarize themselves with it, to become part of it, but we ultimately want all Africans across the globe to be part of Global African Congress. It was said that Africans must be in organization, and if you can't find an organization that suits you or fulfill your need, well, create one.
Absolutely.
So we want this concept, organizations of organization, be fulfilled its most direct way. I think the idea of the Global African Congress, remember, those of us in Durban, it didn't have a name then. It was named in Bridgetown. It was named through an extraordinary process of people suggesting about 10 names, and we voted on each. And as they fell away because they had too little votes, we came up finally with the Global African Congress. This was not somebody's stamp on it. This was African people in Bridgetown naming ourselves, naming our organization.
Thank you.
We are holding this review conference in order to take this idea forward. We've had some stumbling along the way. There's an old African saying, you know, it's not just the people who stumbled on the path who's at fault. It's also those who have walked the path before should remove those obstacles.
Thank you, my brethren. Thank you so much, and inspirational. Again, I'm going to give out the telephone number for those who'd like to come along and observe and validate all what you've heard today. The telephone number is 07 411 113 098, or you can directly send a message to the secretary. So secretary, GAC UK, usual @ followed by AOL.com, or you can find us on Facebook under Global African Congress UK, or indeed details are also found on the website, which are www.gacuk.org.uk.
Can we remind people, Mr. Motivator, that the telephone number is also take WhatsApp, and the old-fashioned text is still available. So either way, people can contact us.
There you go. And thank you for that intervention as well. I'm just conscious of time, but I see that we have an inspired brethren I know, Brother Akram. Good morning to you, Brother Akram.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Motivator, and good morning to Brother Glenn Wright and Sister Nzinga, and to the other members of the GAC family. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is something I just want to put to the organization, and that is this. Now, and I also question, is the Global African Congress mainly taking over the role of that which the Pan-African movement should have done in the first place? I just wonder whether that is part of it. The other part is the plan. What is the real plan for the Pan-African? For the Global African Congress, in the context of the future of Africa, and also.
That's a big question. There's a lot in there. Oh, come on, give us a chance.
and how much is the interaction with the African government? How much interaction do they have with all the African government especially developing the Africa?
But I think we've got it. You've got to give them a chance to respond, because there's a lot in there. And we're surrounded by inspired Africans who can speak for a long time. So let me start with Brother Akil. Do you want to respond to Brother Akram?
Yes, thank you, Brother Akram, and welcome. The Pan-African organizations that existed before the Global African Congress are still functioning. Global African Congress is a congress. It's about bringing all the organizations together. And all of those organizations have been arguing the point of reparations for many years. We had the group of eminent persons with Bernie Grant and Abiola and Dudley Thompson who carried the thing forward. We had ARM in the UK. Then we had the Durban conference, and then we had the Bridgetown conference. The Pan-Africanists have been engaged in this process. So in terms of our way forward, the way forward is essentially about, we need a Congress, and the Congress needs to have a set of rules. And that set of rules is that we have structures. Structures are that we have chapters around the world that look at the detailing within each state. So we're not looking at doing everything for everybody all of the time. What we're doing is making sure that there's a space where the people who are doing the work can come together and bring their work together in co-production, co-joining. So we're not about saying we've got the grand plan. Our grand plan and our strategic document is the Bridgetown Protocol. And our constitution says that we must come together and work together. So with BAC UK, we have monthly meetings with a standardized agenda where people can give reports on what they're doing. And we have a work program that comes out of deep discussions around what we can do. So we're not about, there isn't some kind of grand leadership, a magicking up solutions. We're in an iterative process. We're incrementally moving forward. So part of that incremental movement forward is that our local chapter, the GAC UK, has adapted our bylaws in accord with the discussions that we've had and the conditions that we face on the ground in the UK. And we expect the other chapters to be doing the same. So essentially, in answer to your question, we're not about we're replacing what exists, had existed already. We're about bringing together the energy that exists in a coordinated way and building.
Yes, absolutely. Spot on, spot on. But I'm not going to let you come back. I'm just conscious we've got...
Can I add that one of the work that each chapter should be engaging in regard to the African Union and governments around the globe is those chapters should be confronting those governments and what are their roles or failure within the campaign and revolutionary demands of our people. So we work with each chapter and hope that they will make contribution and confront their government. It's not for the chapter in the UK to be involved in chapter in Senegal and so on. What we're doing is we want to help to empower Africans in all of those areas to address that with their national government.
Okay. Thank you for that response. But I'm going to say thank you for your call. I realise I didn't open the phone line, but this was meant to be an opportunity for the Global African Congress Europe to outline the current position and also to open arms and invite those who wish to work in unity with all Africans worldwide to come join with us. So the Global African Congress Review Conference on Monday and Tuesday of this week is an important occasion to interact with members of your peer groups. Okay, I've given out the number. I'll give it again to call 07411 113 098. You can call as Comrade Brenroy would say. You can also text. Okay, and secondly, you can use email, which is Secretary GAC UK, followed by the usual @ AOL.com. And if those are not enough for you, you can go to our Facebook page or indeed our website as well. Okay, so there are many ways, but we want to encourage those who are forward-thinking, open-minded African peoples who want to be progressive, who recognize you cannot be a lone ranger, you have to be a part of the crowd and work in the crowd together, harnessing that energy, creative, motivational energy towards our goal, which is just reparations. We must be strong. We can only be strong together. Okay? So, let me now start the wind down as we have 5 minutes, but I want to start with the inspired sister, Teresa. I put her on the spot a moment ago and she responded so well. Beautiful, huh? Beautiful. Sister Teresa, what would be, in about a minute, your closing words you wish to share with the audience today? What will be your closing words?
The first one is thank everybody for this time that they've given us, and thank you for having us on the show. It's going to take 10 seconds, my closing word. Life is fragile. It needs balance and condition and consideration. Take nothing for granted.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. Absolutely. Thank you, my sister. Thank you. If I may go to Brother Abu Akil, the GAC Europe General Secretary, please.
Yeah, I echo everything that Sister Teresa has said, and I'll add some words that I put together around what reparations is. And essentially, it's liberty in action, generations on a mission, rehumanizing family, woman, man, children, vision. And GAC UK exists for that.
Absolutely.
GAC EU exists for that. GAC exists for that.
Thank you. And you see the crowd behind me? They're arms in arm, men and women, children, all arms in arm, you know? They're
right.
sharing the burden together, you know? None of this divisiveness. They know they're all looking the same direction, all moving the same direction together in unity. Yeah. Blessed. If I may now go to Brother Comrade Glenn Watson, the GAC Europe male co-chair. Please, your closing words, please.
Every African on this planet has a mission: change the narrative of our people. No matter where you are, you have a responsibility to be part of this process. If you're an African, you're doing nothing about addressing the state of our people have been in and the crimes that's committed against them, as if you're saying you agree with it and it's okay. And I'm sure no African that position. So I appeal again. You're not in an organization. You can't find an organization that you can work with. Create one. Global African Congress wants to link you up. Others around the globe are working in similar fields, have similar concern. Not here to replace anything. Want to work with every African for the push the process forward. Thank you, Mr. Motivator.
Praise be, praise be. Thank you. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I just want to give a quick shout out before I close the show to the local Africans in my political ward. Okay, today is our Africa Day in the Wharf area. Okay, and those of you who've got time from 1 o'clock onwards, Liverpool Grove, which is just off the Wharf Road, which is central in my ward, it's the Africa Day. Okay, you're all welcome. And enjoy African cuisine, culture and tradition, both from the continent and from the Caribbean. Yeah, enjoy us. Yeah, today is Africa Day in Woolworth. That's why it's so important that we enter politics, we enter public life, so you could influence what's happening in your immediate locality. I'm inspired, really empowered by members of the Global African Congress. I might have lost my energy some time ago, but I've been amongst such inspired Africans here. My batteries are so wound up, so alive now. I am proud of you all, and we can overcome all barriers, all the obstacles before us, and we will create a world that will astonish all peoples. We'll be able to do things which are so astonishing. Even today, we can't even conceive what they're going to be, you know? Quantum leaps. Quantum leaps. Quantum leaps. I'm going to say to you all, thank you all for being excellent, outstanding examples of members of the African community. Yes, we're black, but we're absolutely African.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rise up, African people. Rise up.
Thank you. Blessings to you all.
To Lady Chelsea.
Oh, yes, yes, indeed. She had the jab.
Oh, we're missing her. We're missing her.
Well, next week, she'll be back next week. And I know she's listening. I'm surprised she hasn't phoned in, mind you. But,
yes, Mr.
oh, no, she did very well.
Rise up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think it's also, before we go, we should also emphasize the GAC is meant for men and women, boys and girls, elders and youngsters, you know. It is
All of
supposed to
it.
be a family. Sorry, Abu Kill.
All of us, the
All
whole
of us,
family. All of
And,
it.
and if you're a mother with children by herself, you're struggling, contact us. Let's see if we can find a way, or within the networks, people who can help. If you're a man and you're a young man and you're at that cusp, you're not sure you should be studying or you should be doing sports, contact us. There are enough wise people here whose sole interest is your interest, and we gain no financial benefit. It's all your benefit. Yeah? If you're unsure about your religion, we're not a religious organization, but we can at least discuss what the purpose of religion might have in your life, okay? And you can then decide if the religion you belong to, you should continue, or indeed you find a new course, a new way of expressing your love for the world, And I've just say in closing, it is easy for others to fall into polemics and involve themselves in interpersonal nonsense, okay? That is not our way. The GAC is a disciplined organization made up of inspired African peoples, okay? And our discipline and our determination will ensure that just reparations, just economic and social and spiritual upliftment is not what might happen. As it said in our constitution, it shall happen. With that, I say to you all, good day and blessings to you all. Blessings to you all. Blessings, blessings. I know my engineer is going to close down in a moment, but anyway, there you are. But thank you all for being excellent examples of our community. Now, if I could get you all into politics, actual politics would be fantastic there, wouldn't it? Good day to you all. Welcome. Well done, well done, well done, well done.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Great day.
Everything will be all right.